Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and today I want to talk about Helldivers 2 and the future of live service games, because I think there are a ton of lessons to be learned from this game. However, I also think it's not going to be apples to apples comparisons when you're looking at other games trying to implement the same type of content as Helldivers. Now, let me explain why, but start off with a couple things to keep in mind. First off, the game itself has to be fun. That's the key at the end of the day. If you have a live service game that has all of the right implementations of the live service aspect, I think that's all well and good, but the game itself has to have the foundation for success, and that is just being a fun, replayable game, because live service games, like them or not, are meant to be played for months and years to come. The other thing, a lot of people say they don't like live service games, but that cannot be further from the truth for the vast majority of gamers. Helldivers 2 is live service, done in a different way, but people still play it. Most of the top played Steam games right now are live service games, like them or not. You even look at Fortnite, obviously one of the biggest games in the world, live service. Now, the way they handle the live service aspect could be completely different, but as long as they're receiving regular content updates, maybe they have battle passes or seasons or whatever the case may be, live service games are here to stay, and they are massively successful. So that's just something to keep in mind. But when we're talking about especially PvE focused live service games, I think Helldivers 2 provides a good foundation for what these type of games could be in the future, but not every game is going to be able to handle it in the same way that Arrowhead has. Now, the reason I say that is because Helldivers 2 doesn't have cutscenes every season. It doesn't have a real story told in a linear fashion. It doesn't have storytelling through specific missions or anything of that nature to worry about. Balancing PvE only, not having to worry about PvP is another aspect that is very important for how Helldivers implements their live service aspect as well. They don't have to go make a ton of changes because it breaks PvP. They don't have raids or dungeons or anything, and then day one raid races like a game like Destiny has, in order to make sure that the game is well balanced, because if it's completely broken, then everybody's using the same thing and it doesn't matter. And so that's an aspect that I think people have to remember when they're looking at Helldivers 2. The good things that Helldivers does, they have their war bonds, their version of the battle passes. They never expire. I think that's something that any paid game should implement. Any battle passes should be around forever. I know FOMO encourages people to finish them up, but it is nice to jump back in and be able to earn progress regardless of what war bond you're taking on. And with the war bonds having enough currency in-game to be earnable, so that way you can just buy the game once, and then if you play enough, you earn a war bond. But if you don't play enough, you can buy it if you'd like to. I think that's the best way to handle it going forward. You also have your armor sets, and people have talked about pay-to-win aspects, but that's not the case whatsoever. You earn enough in order to get everything in the game. It's similar to Warframe, where you're going to pay for convenience at times, but it's not pay to win. And I think that's a massive difference. You're not getting an advantage by purchasing anything in the store. You're simply getting what other people can get by just playing the game and earning those currencies. So I think that's very, very important. The other thing that Helldivers 2 does so well is seemingly randomly dropping their new content. There's no set schedule, there's no roadmap, there's no seasonal model. So everything kind of catches the community by surprise, but it also feels very natural in a way that other games can definitely learn from. And what I mean by that is we go defend a certain planet. Once we unlock that planet, once we have it fully defended, fully liberated, whatever the case may be, now we get a brand new item to play with. We have that planet that has the mech facilities, and now we liberate that, and now we have mechs to play with in the game. And I think that just feels like a very natural event. We have us taking on certain major orders, we liberate certain planets, and then new enemy types pop up because of maybe we found a new planet that has those different species. Maybe the automatons are ramping up their defenses, so now that they have new enemy types to face in the game. And I think all of that just feels like natural progressions in a way that most other games can definitely learn from and really drop these things through storytelling, because some people hate weekly storytelling, but not if it makes sense in the scope of, okay, we did this thing as a community, and now we are rewarded with this other thing, or now we are facing this new thing that is more dangerous because we push them to the brink of extinction, you know? And I think that's something that a lot of these games can learn from, especially when they are pretty secretive about what is upcoming. Yes, there's data mining information. Yes, there's leaks all over the place, but there's no hints in game that are fully exposing what's coming. Yes, we learn things here and there. Yes, there's giant bones that we see on these planets. Yes, there's kind of ships floating in the background that look ominous, and they're teasing the things that are coming, but they're not overtly telling us, hey, here is what's next. And I love that aspect. I think more games can learn from that and really lean into the fact that the community wants to be surprised in most cases. Yes, we want to understand what's coming, but we don't need everything shown to us well in advance so we know there's no secrets, there's no surprises, there's nothing there that's like, okay, this is what's next, and you are going to enjoy it or you're not going to enjoy it, and that's that. You're going to say, okay, when I log in for the day, when I'm logging into social media and all of a sudden everyone's talking about we have a new weapon to unlock, we have a new weapon to play around with, that's what gets the communities excited, and that's what I think a lot of people are looking forward to with a game like Helldivers 2, and I think other games can learn from that as well. You look at the contrast of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. They hype up this big season 1 with the Joker, new characters, new missions to take on, new activities, all this kind of good stuff, and it felt underwhelming because they put so much time, energy, and effort into hyping it up, and they just didn't deliver enough for people to keep playing the game. Now, if we had just gotten a Joker on that day, but they didn't really explain what was coming, and then that week we got certain missions, and then the next week we get different missions or different weapons, and then the next week we get something different. I think all of that, especially if you did a natural storytelling, like you get a voice line from the Scarecrow, and now all of a sudden his weapons are in the game. You could do stuff like that, and week by week add more stuff, and I think it would engage people more often. It would keep them coming back. You don't have to do like Destiny, where you know every reset on Tuesday you're getting something, and it might be underwhelming, it might be cool, but like there's no rhyme or reason to how it's unlocking, I think, at times. And I feel like they're just doing that to extend the season and not surprise the player base. That's a subtle but important distinction in my personal opinion. Anyway, that's going to leave it for me. I think a lot of games, they can learn these lessons from Helldivers 2. Not every game, again, if they have like cutscenes, if they have story missions, they might not be able to do it in the same vein and the same quickness that we're seeing from Helldivers 2. It's pretty insane how much new stuff we continuously get in that game. But I do think other games can learn some of these lessons, have these never expiring battle passes, have these in-game currencies earnable by the player base. I think all that makes a ton of sense. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Helldivers 2 and live service in general content from me going forward. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.